Hello, Lord Fish back again to do some more on this truck. Sorry, it's not a trailer. So before we do anything else, I'm going to click on this door. I'm going to shift click on this door. I'm going to tab and edit. Click off everything. I'm going to push L over this. I'm going to push L over that. And then I'm just going to go up and down. I'm just going to make them a bit bigger, like that. Don't have to, but I just think that I kind of looked at a picture of a truck and I think they're a little bigger than that. You move them up and down, make them look however you want, but I just thought I'd add that in just for a little more realistic of a look for your truck. Hopefully you agree, and if you don't, that's fine too. Um, so sometimes there's a second half to the truck, sometimes there's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue on without it, probably, without the back half of it. And I'm going to take these doors, and I tab to get out of edit mode, and I'm just going to move them out like this. Both of them nice and evenly, so when we move them back, we can move them in together. Okay? I'm going to stop out here, and it's just going to give me a little more room to work on the vehicle, for we can get in there a little closer to do certain things. Oops. Wait. Sorry. Undo that. Undo that. I'm going to go to arrows. Oh, is that going to work, though? No. I forgot I was stretching them when I was doing it. All I could think to do is move this one out to a certain distance, like, say, maybe we don't have to, actually. Maybe we'll be able to get in the cab. I don't really want to get them out of whack is what I'm really worried about. Alright, so let's push Control A, and we will make a cube, and hopefully we're going to be able to bool out of the front of this vehicle. You guys don't have to do this, but you are welcome to do it too. And when we do this, you may want to leave a back wall for you can't see through to your engine where your engine would be, especially if you haven't built an engine. Maybe before we get this started, we're going to just go grab this and go into edit mode again. We're going to go Control R, and we're just going to drop this down to about here. Okay, and that's where our bumper is going to be too. So if we go to faces, we click here, Control, and then Control all the way to here, and then we push E. Should be able to extrude it out a little bit. You may have to push Y, Z, or X to get it on the right axis, but it should just naturally be on the right axis. I had to go that far. It looks pretty good to me, so I'll stop there. I'll get out of that, and I'll get on this piece, and we'll kind of give it a shape. Judging from what I see from transport trucks, they're generally an oval, so maybe we will make this an oval, like so, and then like so. Make this a little thinner like that. We'll bump it back. Then we'll go into edit mode. We'll grab this one, this one, this one, this one, and we're going to Control B, and we're just going to go a little bit like that. And we'll get out of that. We can see our piece a little clearer. Something like this. That looks pretty good to me. Hopefully it looks pretty good to you. I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to Shift D and move it out where we have a second one. And then we're going to push S and just ever so slightly make it a little bit bigger. Okay? And we're going to click the truck, and hopefully we're going to bool the shape out and have no issues. Yes, and it worked. Perfect. Didn't erase anything else. Perfect. So now we can grab this shape, and we can move it in. And it doesn't go all the way through, as you see. And we can make it stick out a little bit like that. But before we attach it, we can do a little editing to this piece itself. Maybe we want to stick it out that far. So we can Shift D again. Alright. Move this piece into the middle. Sorry about that. And do one of these. Just kind of stretch it out a little bigger this way, but then smaller this way. And if you want to go smaller, Something like that, okay? And then we're going to Shift D it. Take our arrows. Now it's a little complicated, but as much as you want it, you're going to have to kind of put them in like that. Shift D. Shift D. And kind of as even as you can, space them out. You could probably use some sort of math formula to exactly spread them out, but this is good enough for me. Just have a look and kind of make sure they look alright. Maybe one more. There we go. Okay, now we're going to Shift D. And we are going to go up to here and take the minus out. And then we're going to go to the second one and we're going to Shift D. We're going to go up to the top and we're going to take the minus out. And we're going to keep on doing that until we've added them to the other side perfectly. So now we're on the third one. Shift D. Take the minus out. So fourth one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Shift D. And it'll take a minute, but we'll get there. And that was a 4, so this would be the fifth. Shift D. If you make a mistake, just delete it. It's that easy. If you do the same one twice by accident, or if you grab the wrong one. Let's see, what one was that even? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we're on this one. Get a little confused because I'm explaining to you guys, but that was right. Good, perfect. All right. Here comes the next big part. So what I would probably do is make the back piece black after, but we'll grab all these. Every single one, making sure you don't click the back piece until the very end. And I'm left click and then shift left clicking the rest of them. Then shift left click this piece. We'll go up to bool and difference. It's quite the complicated cut. You see it kind of pause for a second because it's like, whoa, what the hell? But we're done. We got our cut. I'm going to make that a little bit skinny. For it has a little tiny gap between it and that back wall. So if we make that back wall, say, black, you'll just see black back there. It'll look kind of naturaler. So I may not attach that yet, but that piece is ready to be attached. We'll Shift A. We'll go ahead and make a square. And then we maybe turn it, we'll put it here and we'll shrink it down a little bit. And Control B, we'll round that out. Kind of have to make this, move this into place and make sure we're not going to hit anything else, but try to keep it on its axis. It just makes things a little bit easier. Something like that. Make sure you're not hitting anything on either side. Bump it out as far as we can, like that. And then we'll go into edit mode on this piece, click off everything. We'll go up to faces, we'll click on faces here. We'll go eye. And then we're going to shrink it on the sides for it's a little bit more even with the top, like so. And then we're going to push E, and we're going to go in a little bit, like so. Looks like a pretty good headlight to me. Maybe you want to make it a little bit more skinny this way, like that. Maybe move it up a bit, like that, and then we'll Shift D it, and we will remove the minus again. And since we kept it right on the axis, it's really easy to do that. Not a big deal, right? Okay, what's next? Let's grab the truck body, and we'll go into edit mode with tab, and we're going to push E on the windshield and just go in the slightest amount, like that. Grab this back window, hit E, just go in the slightest amount like that. Just for there's an edge, just for you can see it's a different piece. So it'll be easier to highlight your windows and stuff like that. Easy enough to do. Done. So what should we do next? It is a little hard to move around in there. I'll probably have to move our doors out eventually, but maybe for now, we could, I guess we'll do the rest of the back end of the truck, would probably make the most sense. Alright, so you've decided to build a truck. Very good. I'm sorry, that's a terrible accent. Try to get up like that. Decide on a thickness, probably not that thick. So we'll make it like a frame basically. Something like this, and it'll be like the middle frame part of it. Move this down. We're gonna have to make sure we're not sticking through the front end like that. Something like that. Try to get it as exact as you can. Just giving you examples, so I won't take all the time in the world to do it, but I'll try my best to get it without going over, because if we go over, we're going to be sticking inside of the vehicle. I think that's right. You do you, obviously. Shift D when you're ready, and we'll keep going. Let's just pull that up for now. Let's take our tires, and we should be able to Shift D, and they should move back together since we made them together this time. And we'll decide where they should be on the back end, something like that. Shift D again, because they have dualies on the back of a transport. You could even double them up if you want. I don't think I'm going to bother, but you could if you really wanted to. I don't know exactly if there's any bit of a frame in between these, but I kind of feel like there might be. So maybe we'll just do something in here to represent that. Maybe it's... yeah, I guess it should be this shape. So let's do this. Should be about the same width, right? So maybe we'll boost that out here to about there, maybe. Move it back. I'm just gonna use our hand to move us over, nice and easy. Alright, so we might want to shrink it down for it doesn't overlap the other piece. That's up to you again. Probably be better if we don't have a bunch of overlapping pieces. It might cause issues. Just make sure you're still connected. Try to match the height and everything else. You could actually match the numbers if you want over here to make sure they're exactly. I'll just go try my very best to get it. So maybe I'll go a little bit under too. Alright. What I'm pretty happy with, we'll Shift D it. We'll add a minus this time to the other side, and then we go grab that. We can attach it if we want, but maybe we'll wait for a second just to make sure we don't want to do anything else. Actually, we do want to do something else. We'll grab this, we'll Shift D it, and we'll move it back, and we'll reshape it a bit by going, oops, something like this, and then we'll make it longer for it blocks out the tires and stuff. Something like that. And we'll move it in. Should be the right height. We just got to match it the other way. Again, use our hand to move us around. Handy dandy hand. I think that's around right. Yeah, I'd say that's right. Something like that. And if you want, you could do a little bit here, but what I think we should do is do a Control R and do 2, and then right click them and then spread them out with this. Yeah. Okay. Is it the right size on these? Yeah, I think it's the right size. And then we'll grab these and Shift grab this one, and we will do this. Just give our transport just a little more shape and just make it look a little more real. Hopefully it works for you. Hopefully it looks good for you. If you're happy with it, I guess you got the frame shape you want. If you want to adjust this, now's the time. I think I like it. I think I'll go with it, but you can obviously adjust yours if you want to. Control J, just to make that one piece. One thing we really do need is axles, because it's something you probably see from the front, but I'm not going to get that far into detail. If you need help with axles, I have a bunch of other videos you can check out. I move the tires just a hair to make sure they're not going to collide with that thing. Just like that. Move them together for they're exactly the same on either side. Looks pretty good to me. Hopefully it looks pretty good to you. You can do mud flaps too, but let's just get some more of this truck done first. So I'm going to have to move one of these out, and I don't think I was going to be able to move them together anyway, so let's do that for now and see if that works for us working a bit more. First off, we're going to have to do some seats, I guess, so let's do them. Getting pretty far into this video, and I don't want to get on anybody's nerves or push them too far in one session, especially if you're new to Blender, so we probably won't keep going too much longer, but let's do this up and see if we can get one seat, and then we'll copy it for both sides. So I'm not exactly sure how wide it's going to be to have to fit in here and everything, so let's just start off. Make the general shape of a seat. Not sure if I want to do a second cushion on top. Actually, let's do that. Shift D this. Move it up a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to make these in two pieces, I think. So trucks actually have, I'm pretty sure anyways, they have their own suspension on the seat because it's such a heavy duty thing. We're not going to get that far into depth, so we're just going to make a decent looking seat that looks pretty real, hopefully. So I'm going to make that piece down there, and then I'm going to grab this piece, take it into edit mode, then I'm going to push L over it, and I'm going to control B, round it out a little bit like that. So it's pretty much a nice square. Then I'm going to get it out of edit mode, and I'm going to shrink it down. If you want to cancel a movement, it's right click. I'll just remind you guys of that. Maybe we want to make it just a hair bigger, like that or something. You want to put more detail in it, that's fine too. You can take, go to faces, and maybe you want to do this. Just to give it some sort of detail on the seat for it looks a little better. I moved it down, and then we'll hit I, and we'll move it in like that, and then we'll pull it up. And now it has just a little bit of texture in the seat. You might be able to see it there. You'll see it a lot better when it's painted. Just an easy way to make it a little bit different and have a little more style in it, depending on what you're trying to do. We'll do something like this. We'll just make sure that we're covering that edge. We'll Shift D it. I'm just going to recycle this piece, so we're going to have to stand it up though, and I'm not sure which angle that is, so we'll just go like this. That's the one. Oh, that's exactly the opposite, so minus 90. And bust her up here. Okay, move it back. This looks pretty good. Maybe make sure that you're not on the inside of that one edge, so maybe like here. And maybe stretch it a little bit taller, but not much. Okay, and we'll boost that up like this, so there's a little bit of a crevice in between the seats. And then we'll Shift D this again. I know we're using this shape so much. Boost it up again, and then we'll change the shape of it. We'll just make it a little skinnier, a little skinnier this way, a little skinnier this way. Let's just move it up a bit. And I think we got a pretty handsome looking seat now. Maybe a bit more skinnier this way. Alright, so we will Control A. Gotta make one more section to connect pieces. So let's grab that, drag that sucker over. And if it's a little too tall or a little too short, just don't worry about it right now. Let's just come with me on this little journey and we'll fix that after. It's a magical little journey. Believe me, you'll enjoy it. Alright, so take these pieces, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're just not going to do it as much. We're just going to go a little bit like that. That's fine. Out of edit mode, into this. And we only do that for it's just not such a hard edge on it. Okay, something like that. Something like this. Now, Shift D it. And shrink it down. So we don't need it to be nearly that big for this one. Something like this. And then something like that. That is going to be the piece that connects the top rest piece on. So if you want to lean the seat back on just a slight angle too, it'll probably look a little bit better. But it's not going to make that much of a difference. But you can if you want to, you're welcome to. So there we go, something like that. And move it into your place that you want it to be. And we're going to go grab it, grab that, and grab this, and we'll Control J. Okay, and then we'll grab this one. And let's just kind of make it match the bottom and look like it's kind of a support for it as well. Something like that, something like this. Maybe a little taller like that. Okay. All right. You don't have to do this piece if you don't think it's necessary. If you think it's good without it, that's fine too. I'm going to do it. I just like to make things make sense. That's just me. So Control J those pieces together. Then we're going to start Control J this to that. Control J. Now I think it's a little tall, but let's get it in there and see a little better. Yeah, it looks a little tall to me. So let's shrink her down a little. Oops, how did we end up with that tire in there? Uh-oh. Wonder when that happened. Let's go back and not attach that tire with it. I don't know how I grabbed that tire. Oh, it doesn't look like I have it now. Oh, I got a wire going over my mouse. I might have double clicked by accident. We don't have a tire, right? Okay, we don't have a tire. Control J. And we don't have that tire, so we should be okay. Let's shrink it a little bit now. Move it down a little bit. Alright, so we got seats it looks like, and we got the back of our truck, but we still haven't attached everything. We're going to have to take our time and do that in the next episode. Maybe I want to adjust those seats, but I think you're going to have to be pretty tall to see out here, so I'm going to go with that. So Shift D if you like your seat and you're all happy with it. And we will just go to the top one, I think it was, and take the minus out of it. And now we have two matching seats perfectly spread out. So we got most of our truck built. We got a good chunk of it anyways. We'll come back in the next episode and we're going to do a dash this time and really try to make it look like a truck interior, hopefully. Hopefully you guys will agree, and hopefully you'll like it and be able to use this inner view for your vehicle when you're using your truck. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you thumbs up. Check out my other series of videos. There's lots of videos you probably like. If you like gaming, I'm sure you'll like my freaking videos there. There's tons of gaming stuff there. There's tons of other Blender stuff if you're just into Blender. And yeah, make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.